Welcome to the quick start video for the 3 horsepower equivalent Newport NT300 Electric Outboard. This motor is super intuitive. We're going to show you just the things you need to know to get up and running for your maiden voyage on the water. So follow along. It's got a tiller steer throttle on it, an LCD screen on the front, and it's super lightweight and portable. The installation takes just a couple minutes on any square stern canoe, john boat, anything with a transom or transom bracket on it. First thing I'm going to do is just make the throttle mechanism horizontal. I'm going to click it into place. Makes it a little easier to work with. Next thing, you're going to rest the bracket right onto your square transom and just install it loosely so you still have a little bit of play, but it's not going to fall off. You want to make sure the motor is sitting directly in the center of the transom if you can do that, and that'll allow your vessel to track straighter over a long distance. And I want about the same amount of threads exposed on the clamp. The adjustment mechanisms on the motor you'll want to get familiar with before your initial outing on the water are 3 major things. The tilt pin, this tilt lock or tilt adjustment lever, as well as the reverse lockout lever that's on the starboard side of the motor. I typically want to start out with the trim tilt pin on the very lowest hole. And then from there you can kind of have a partner on the water eye your vessel and see how the vessel's performing at that tilt adjustment setting, and then you can adjust it up or down from there. Before you launch the boat and during launching, I usually like to keep the motor tilted up and locked out. So once you get in waist deep water, you can go ahead and lift up on the motor shaft, open that locking mechanism up, and just drop the motor down. I like to use the reverse lockout feature so that I can use full power reverse. So I'm just going to depress that reverse lockout, and it's going to prevent the motor from kicking up when you go into reverse. If you are in a situation where you've got really tannic water and maybe there's some submerged stumps and rocks and obstacles like that around, you'll probably want to just keep that reverse lockout knob up. That'll allow the motor to freely kick up on contact, and it'll be a lot more friendly on your equipment. Forward propulsion forces the motor into the down position. So if you're just going forward and you've got that reverse lockout mechanism opened up to allow the kick out on contact, the motor's going to perform just fine going in forward. If you've got that reverse lockout opened up and you need to use reverse, just use a very light throttle so the motor stays in the water. Another feature on the NT300 you want to become familiar with before your first use is the tilt mechanism on the tiller throttle. When you pull the throttle out, it allows it to fold down. This is really handy for transportation and storage. When the motor's in use, go ahead and lift it up to horizontal and push it in. That'll lock it in the horizontal position, and then it will allow the throttle to actually tilt up. If you were standing on a watercraft and you had the tiller extension handle installed and you wanted to operate the motor from a standing position, you'll need that throttle clicked all the way in, and then it'll allow it to tilt up. To tilt back down for storage and transportation, or just to fold the throttle handle onto your deck, pull it out and let it drop down. Standard on the NT300 is the crush-proof Anderson self-wiping plug. The other side of that plug connects to the battery. You've got an open pigtail on one side and the Anderson plug on the other side. So you'll simply remove the terminal bolts and connect the open ring terminals that come with this side of the plug to the battery source. Your NT300 is going to run off a 36 volt power. We offer 36 volt 30 and 40 amp hour options, or you can do some shopping around for your power source if you prefer. You can also run this motor off of deep cycle or lithium power, so you've got an open-ended option there. Once I've got the open pigtail terminals connected securely to the battery and the bolts really tightened down, you're going to just join the two halves of the Anderson plugs, the motor is gonna start to power up on the screen. You will need to press mode on the LCD screen to select your power source between deep cycle or lithium. The second thing you need to do before powering up the motor and using it is to insert the magnetic key on the key rest. Then press the power button to give power from the battery to the motor. The next thing you'll want to do before you start motoring away is check that you've got full throttle forward, all the way up to 100 and down to a low throttle percentage, just in case you need it. And do the same thing in reverse. Up to 100% and down low. A lot of times trolling speed on a small watercraft is about between 5 and 10%. So you want to make sure that you can reach that. Also, maneuvering around docks and other boats, you want to use a low throttle percentage. I hope you found this video useful, and we'll see you on the water. The way forward is electric.